Museum of Mummies. Have you ever seen a mummy in real life? Well, guess what? You can go see real mummies at the Museum of Mummies in Guanajuato, Mexico. In Guanajuato, people would take their family members to the cemetery, but they wouldn't have enough money to keep their family's bodies there. So they would take them out of the burial chamber, and when they took the bodies out of that chamber, they then noticed that the bodies were mummified. The Museum of Mummies has a rich history, and each mummy has its own story. The Museum of Mummies has a weird but rich history. In Guanajuato, Mexico, the first mummy was found in 1865, and the cemetery didn't actually mean to find it. Many people were dying from a bunch of diseases back then, and the cemetery decided if you haven't paid your burial taxes, they would remove the casket and the body for more room. When they made this rule, they started removing the bodies, and when they did, they saw that the person in the casket was in fact mummified. The bodies didn't deteriorate as much due to the climate and the fact that the caskets weren't buried underground. They were placed in a burial chamber or a catacomb where you can stack a bunch of caskets. The first mummy that was found was a guy named Dr. Remigio Leroy. Dr. Leroy was from France and had no local family to pay the storage toll and was thus exhumed with Niche 214 to make room for paying customers. And to everyone's astonishment, his body was found to have been mummified. After finding Dr. Leroy, the workers at the cemetery began to wonder if there were more. So they removed the other caskets and looked to see if all of the bodies were mummified. The result was shocking. They found a lot of corpses and figured out that each corpse had their own unique story. They found corpses in all different shapes, sizes, and ages. The cemetery workers found a woman who had been buried alive, people who had been murdered, newborn babies, and many other types of mummies. They discovered over at least 100 mummies. Each had a different story. After finding so many mummies, the word got out about the mummies and the people would try to sneak in to try to see them. That's when they decided to open a museum to display all the mummies they had discovered. The museum was a big hit. The town began getting more and more tourists. People would travel from all over the place just to see a real-life mummy. The people of Mexico didn't fear away from the mummies, hence why they did a museum. The mummies that you would see in this museum still have their clothes that they were buried in. Some even still had their eyes open. For instance, the babies were probably buried with their left eye open and their hands folded in prayer. It was expected that little angels would fly straight to heaven where the Virgin awaited them. You can tell which mummies still had their eyes open, which ones still have hair, the position they were in the coffin, which is a really weird thing to think about or even see. Some bodies were even buried the wrong way. They were just stuffed in a coffin and just put inside the catacomb. The Museo de las Momias, the Mummies of Memories, has a rich history, and each mummy has its own unique story. The museum finding all of the mummies was a really good thing for Guanajuato, Mexico. It brought many tourists and gave the town something to be proud about. The museum is still researching about the mummies and how exactly they ended up becoming mummies, especially due to the climate change for them back in the 1900s. If you're interested in mummies and learning about history, this place would be a very cool place to visit. If I ever get the chance, I would love to go see real-life mummies.
Today my presentation will be about the Day of the Dead. Traditions are passed down from generation to generation. In Mexico, Day of the Dead is a tradition that is celebrated from October 3rd through November 2nd, and is to recognize the lives of those who have passed away. The goal is to be able to mourn their souls in an uplifting way. It is full of rich culture and history. This tradition is celebrated across the world now. and is expressed with religious traditions, food, and festivals, and is widely accepted by others because it teaches people how to mourn with a healthy and positive mindset. This holiday has a rich history that is still relevant to why it's celebrated today. This tradition started with indigenous people, for they believed that the souls of the people that died come and visit people on earth. This is an important concept because it allows comfort in death. In other countries, people mourn death for months, even years, but with a tradition like Day of the Dead, it turns a negative event into something positive. This is expressed through festivals. Many people come together and celebrate the lives of the deceased. This is done with parades and events equivalent to the United States Halloween. People dress as skeletons and go to these parades. The festival is the climate of the 3-day holiday, but there are also other traditions that take place to fulfill the Day of the Dead. One of the main traditions that is a part of this holiday is food. The main foods are pan de muerto, tamales, and mole negro. They all represent something special about the holiday. The tamales is most popular for its taste. It is usually meat wrapped around a cornbread. It is also used for other Mexico holidays because it is important to the culture. The mole negro has a lot of hard work that is put into it. It takes so long because of all the ingredients must be toasted. Lastly, the bread is round and fluffy, and it is represented as a religious factor. These foods are a way to be expressive. It is one thing that all people can come together and bond over, which is the main point of this holiday, to bring people and families together. The last tradition is the religious rituals. They have people make chapels for everyone to place remembrance items for those who have passed away. This is almost like a memorial for the deceased. Families put pictures of the deceased and Jesus, figurines, and images to be displayed for everyone to see. This is to keep their souls alive because if the family forgets about them, then the souls are not allowed to flourish after they die. This is more important for people that are alive. This is so that they can find comfort in the fact that the people that they have lost are still amongst them. This holiday is based off of Mexico's religion. If there is not religion, there wouldn't be a safe place for the family's souls to be. And that's the purpose of the chapel. In conclusion, the Day of the Dead is a holiday that can be beneficial to all cultures. It teaches people how to mourn the dead and how to celebrate the negatives in life. This is expressed through food, festivals, and religious traditions. This is done by foods that are made with much love and dedication. Without the food aspect of this holiday, it would be hard to bring people together so easily. The festivals help bring joy and fun to the atmosphere for everyone. The chapels that are made by families are the base of the holiday to show the religious contributions to the family that has passed away. This is important to the culture because they believe in an afterlife and that their souls should be carried on. It is a beautiful holiday full of vibrant vibes. It brings people together and it keeps family legacies alive.